Hi everybody, welcome to a new episode of your Frederish Cast. I am Gary and here I am once again. Have you ever heard of a series of books called, quote, a series of unfortunate events? Well, maybe, just maybe, you know that or you remember this because of Jim Carrey's 2004 movie. Or even maybe you know that / remember that because Netflix's show more recently, 2017, I guess. Yeah, you probably did not know that this was a series of books. In fact, 13 books, which is, if memory serves me well, let me check my registrations here. But I believe it is the same number of seasons that we have. I mean, not seasons, of episodes. Oh God, 13 seasons. What are we talking about, friends? But it's the same number of episodes we have in the show, right? Let me check. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. 13. Actually, we have 26 episodes, but every episode goes about a specific place, which I'm going to be talking more about it. But before that, I'm always getting ahead of myself. Have you ever, or have you already, stood up and went to go grab a cup of coffee, tea, whatever it takes for you to relax and join me in one more interesting, and for me, one of my favorite TV shows ever. Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. And why is it so cool? Because the story is amazing, because there are plot twists, there's violence, there's blood. I don't know what pleases you, you guys in the show. Well, not really. I mean, there is, but not explicitly. But what is cool, in my opinion, what makes it one of my favorite shows out there is the clear, again, this is my perspective, guys, but for me, the clear message behind the whole thing, the whole story. And I would like to share this impression with you guys today. And obviously, hear you out, read your opinions in the comment section below. And this is it for today, so let us just do it. Let's go. All right, so what is this story? What is this show, this series of books about? Well, basically, it is about the story, as the title suggests, the series of unfortunate events that take place in the lives of three orphan children. Okay, the Baudelaire siblings. Okay, so these three siblings. By the way, if you don't know the word sibling is a general word for brothers and sisters. Okay, so the three siblings, have their parents dead in a fire, in a apparently or certainly criminal fire, which has we have a name for it in English, that is arson. Okay, so in an arson situation, their parents die. Basically, they perish in this fire, as the movie shows, as the TV series show, and the books probably do show as well. So they started off in the very, very beginning with this big problem in their hands. That is, what is it going to be of us now without our parents, right? We don't have any interaction with the parents. I mean, the kids during the show, right? There are some flashbacks, of course. I don't even know if these flashbacks are in the books, but we do have flashbacks, so we get to know in the show a little bit more of the parents. But the fact is, they are dead by the very beginning of the show, and the orphan children have to deal with that, to live with that. And of course, as minors, they have not much of an option but going to be raised by whoever the law says so. Okay? And this is how they end up to live with what the lawyer of the family seems to believe to be a remote cousin, okay, named Count Olaf, who turns out to be a belligerent, malevolous, evil, and pretty crooked failed actor, okay, theater actor, who clearly wants nothing else but their money. Because, yeah, I forgot to mention, the Baudelaires were pretty rich, one of the richest in town, right? And by quote-unquote raising the orphans, Count Olaf would have their fortune, would be allowed to put his hands on their fortune. And this is all about, this is the center of the plot, basically. The kids keep doing whatever they can to escape Count Olaf's hands, okay? But he's always chasing them, coming for them, you know? No matter where they go, he's always there. And since I mentioned he's an actor, a failed but an actor, he's always dressing up in the most different, varied, and why not ludicrous and ridiculous costumes to play out people, okay, around the Baudelaires. Because of course they end up in his house, but it doesn't take long until the police realizes his malevolous plans behind it. All right, and from that moment on, they go to a different tutor. Okay, the family's lawyer chooses one and takes them there, and then tutor after tutor. It's a kind of a spoiler, but guys, believe me, the cool thing is understanding the message behind, not only watching the show, okay? As it is, right? The show. I'm gonna talk more about it. But yeah, so tutor after tutor dies, quote unquote, mysteriously, of course, by the hands of Count Olaf. But he comes not as Count Olaf, but as a disguised character. But here's one thing: it is clearly him, right? Anyone can see the moment you put your eyes on the character that he's portraying, right? That Count Olaf's portraying to deceive people around the Baudelaire orphans. You can clearly see the children clearly sees that, and but no one else does. Okay, and that's when you start realizing, like, hey, there's something wrong with this show. Like, either the authors, the director, whatever, is trying to piss me off, or this is the most stupid show ever, the most stupid story ever. How is it that nobody realizes that this man is a person disguised, and more than a person disguised, is Count Olaf in disguise, who now is considered a criminal, you know, because after the first episodes, when the police finds out that he's a bad person, that he's a cruel, evil person, manipulative person, etc., he becomes a felony, word that in English means someone running away from the police, from the authorities, right? But he manages to come back season after season, place after place, okay, with his ridiculous disguises, obvious and ridiculous disguises at the same time, and nobody realizes that, okay? And as I was saying, that kind of pisses you off, because you go like, come on, is everybody stupid? What the hell is going on here? What kind of story is this show trying to portray? But here is where the whole story, quote unquote, falls apart, okay? In my opinion, that's when anyone can realize that that show is not meant to be taken seriously. Okay, the main line, the main story is nothing but a metaphor, okay, an allegory to a bigger picture story. Okay, well, if you had a good perception to understand things, you can pretty much do that at the very beginning of the show. More specifically, at the very beginning of the movie with Jim Carrey in 2004, which is a good one, okay? If you want to have a starter off this universe, so to say, to see if you're really gonna have a good time watching the 26 episodes, the 26 Netflix episodes, okay? Or even reading the 13 books at the end of this episode. So in the Jim Carrey's in the movie with Jim Carrey in 2004, 21 years ago, by the way, ladies and gents, we're getting old. So yeah, in the movie, there is one of the very first scenes. They're talking about the Baudelaire children, okay, which I forgot introducing, by the way. So we have Violet, the eldest. I don't remember exactly, but 14 years old, 15 years old, something like that, okay? She is a genius inventor, okay? A bright inventor. She can pretty much comes up with anything. So it's a mini MacGyver, basically. So she's really, really resourceful, really, really clever, okay? Way more clever than the average kid, okay? But when you have this information, you go like, okay, we have a prodigy. This happens. It's not usual, but it happens. All right. And then you're introduced to kid number 2, the second kid, that is Klaus Baudelaire, age 12, 13, so a little younger than Violet, who is a remarkable intellectual, age 12, 13, okay? And at the beginning of the movie, it is said that Klaus Baudelaire had managed to read all of his parents' library. And I'm not talking about a small library, I'm talking about rich people library, okay? Rich people's library. So gigantic 3,000, 4,000 volumes library. And he managed to read them all. Okay, that when if you're a little bit a perceptive person in terms of understanding, reading the environment, the story, reading what's behind the story, you go like, another prodigy. Wow, what are the odds? Okay, his sister and him, 2 prodigies. Come on, man. What a lucky family, right? But okay, this may happen. But then when you're introduced in the movie, of course, the Netflix show goes in a similar direction, but in the movie, there's this clear introduction to each one of the characters. So when you get to the youngest, Sonny Baudelaire, which is a baby in the books and a sort of a toddler in the show, but a baby, okay. And then is where, if you're attentive, if you have a good perception, you see, like, the show must not be taken seriously, because Klaus is a tremendous reader, intellectual person. Violet is the reincarnation of Edison, okay? Souls of Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein got together and reincarnated in a girl. All right. But then when you're introduced to Sonny, as I was saying, Sonny Baudelaire, the baby girl, it gets clear that this is just a metaphor. Okay, the 3 kids are metaphors for something else, which I'm going to get there. But what is the thing with Sonny? She has got sharp teeth. She has got only, as a baby, the 2 front teeth, but she can pretty much bite and tear and destroy anything she puts her teeth on. Okay, it's like something out of a She can pretty much bite and grind stones or metal, of course wood, right? Which is something that's not only not common, but impossible, but physically impossible. But as I said, this is where the show shows you, like, this is not the main story. There's something behind. I'll be very honest with you. I don't know if most people have realized that. And for this reason, I believe that lots of people probably hate this show, judging it a satirical thing, a satirical play, or even a full dumb show, okay? And I have to be honest with you again, if you look from this perspective, from the pure perspective, it is the dumbest thing ever, okay? What is it worth despite of anything for watching the show? Acting is very good, as in the movie as in the show. The production is very good. The acting of the actors is just remarkable, okay? And the lines, okay? It is a very rich story, okay? With lots of intricate words that get explained, by the way, in the show. So it's nice. It is the intricate words get explained in the show because the kids are geniuses, right? The three of them, but especially the eldest ones. And they come up with a vast vocabulary with intellectual conceptions and things like that, all right? And the funny thing is, as if the two elements I gave you here, I'm giving you here today to see that there is a story behind the story, were not enough. There is another element. Literally, everyone else except the Baudelaire children are dumb, are absolutely stupid, okay? Absolutely morons, basically. So Count Olaf is still a stupid guy, of course, but he's the villain, he's the antagonist of the show and everything. So he's a little more clever than everyone else. He's not as clever as the Baudelaire children, but he's like a clever bad character, evil character, okay? But other than these ones, everyone else is as dumb as a dog, okay? Is as smart as a dog, basically. I mean, not that. There are so many smart and clever dogs out there, but you know my point. Okay, Gary, you're saying that the whole show is nothing but a metaphor for a secondary story that has been told, a secondary message. So what the heck is this message? What the heck is this real story behind it? Yeah, you're curious, I know, but I'm gonna just do that. I'm gonna just answer your question and satisfy your curiosity. But before that, I must say this is only my opinion, okay? I have read some comments online about the show. There is not much in Brazil, but in English language. I'm not gonna name countries, but in English language communities, it is the books are originally published, or the author is North American. So yeah, it is from there, right? So there's a pretty solid and strong fan base out there, and they're talking about it. And I've read a couple of comments about the show, and I never saw anyone really with the same perception I have. Okay, maybe there is someone out there or some people out there, but not that I know of. Okay, so if you know someone with a similar perception, with a similar opinion about this show, let me know. I want to see it. I want to hear from them. But basically, this is my perception. Starting off with the Baudelaire children and Count Olaf. So, since Violet Baudelaire, the eldest, is a out of series, a top-notch inventor, okay? She represents the industry, the market, the people producing things, the entrepreneurs, the salespeople, okay, the vendors, all of them, the market. I'm gonna name as the market, okay? So, and when I say the market, I mean the people making market happen, okay? And I'm not only, and I'm not talking about the people on the demand end, but the supply end, all right? So the entrepreneurs, all right? The entrepreneurs are represented, in my opinion, by Baudelaire, okay? Klaus, with his intellectual gift, all right? Not the intellectuality, but his search for knowledge through reading books thing. He represents the intellectuals, okay? Professors, authors, philosophers, all of them, okay? Which is another sector of society, right? And baby Sonny Baudelaire represents the workers' class, okay? The people who literally have to bite things off every day to get the humanity going, to get society going, basically, all right? So, Sonny, entrepreneurs. Klaus, intellectuals. Sorry, did I say Sonny? No, I mean Violet, the eldest, the entrepreneurs. Klaus, the second, the intellectuals. And Sonny Baudelaire, the working class. And of course the children too, at the same time, okay? Because she's not an intellectual, because she's still a baby. She's not a inventor, because she's still a baby. But she's pretty clever, and she is, there's this expression in English that suits so perfectly here. A tough cookie to bite, basically. All right? Which is pretty much what we can pretty much separate society as a whole in these three, using these three sort of people. Can we? Intellectuals, entrepreneurs, and workers, right? Well, I don't mean to bring any Marxist or anti or class fight philosophical approach here. That's not my point. But I really believe that these three sectors are perfect marriage, you know, and are, whether we like it or not, whether we can point out mistakes and flaws, what gets society going, right? Okay, so what about Count Olaf? What is Count Olaf? Who does this character represent, in your opinion, Gary? Well, Count Olaf is nothing but the crooked and rigged system. Crooked, evil, and rigged, okay? Evil because at the end of the day, it is the very fact that Count Olaf is constantly trying to steal the kids' fortune is a representation of how evil is constantly trying to steal our riches. When I say our riches, I mean we society, we honest people. Either we are blue collar employees or white collar or entrepreneurs or intellectuals, whatever. The system is coming for us. The system is trying to steal our fortune, our riches, our piece of spirit, if you will, okay? And the very fact that Count Olaf does that in a satirical way and seems to fool everybody but the Baudelaire children is a representation of how rooted this rigged and evil and corrupt system is in our society. Okay, I'll give you one clear example. If you're Brazilian, how many times after, you know, some robber or I mean, not gonna say robber, but someone murders someone, okay, and this person goes to jail here in Brazil, and depending on the circumstances, he walks out a free man from jail, you know, walks out with murder, okay, and nothing happens. if you talk to any politician in Brasilia, for example, or in your state, they're gonna go like, oh no, this is wrong, blah blah blah, right? So why don't we change it? Why don't we change our panel system? Okay, so these things like that don't happen anymore, since they shock everybody, or almost everybody. Of course, not everybody, but almost everybody. Why don't we change it? This is the question. Why? So I have the same feeling when I talk about this. I'm just bringing one example. Like, I swear to God, I could do a whole podcast only talking about my perceptions to put Count Olaf's representation as a character in the show to our evil system out there. But the fact that nobody does anything to change it, despite everybody is against it, no one changes it, it's still there, is the same perception I have in the show when I go like, why doesn't anybody see that this guy is Count Olaf? He's in disguise, but it's a poor disguise. He's a horrible actor. He's a bad actor and a bad person, of course. So it's pretty easy to spot that. What happened to these people? Did they have brain damage or something, right? So it's more or less this thing, okay? And last but not least, the fact that the Baudelaire children are constantly moving from one place to other. First in Count Olaf's house, and then in another cousin's house, who is a herpetologist who works with reptiles. And then this guy dies, quote unquote, mysteriously. Of course, Count Olaf murders him. And then they go to Aunt Josephine, which with her problems and whole situation and everything. And all of these places are, in my opinion, in my reading, a representation of periods of humanity, okay? Some of them clear periods, like Middle Age, for example. In my opinion, Aunt Josephine is a representation of the Middle Age, because Aunt Josephine, very quickly, total spoiler here, guys, but that's it. She is addicted with grammar, okay? She cannot have anyone saying a wrong sentence, grammatically speaking. And she's afraid of everything, or almost everything, since her husband died years ago, okay? So why is it, in my opinion, a representation of the Middle Ages, right? Because it was a moment where people were scared of anything. Everything was superstition. Everything was a bad spirit or something like that. Not that I don't believe these things, but they were like really, really superstitious back in the days. And the society in general seemed to be, when we look back, more worried about grammar mistakes than actual mistakes. I'm just gonna stay here, okay? I'm not gonna talk more about, but every one of the places that the Baudelaire orphans go to, running from Count Olaf's evil hands, in my opinion, is a representation of a place. But please, don't just stay with my opinion. Go check, go watch the show. It's not many episodes, 26, 3 seasons. You can pretty much do it if you like it. But if you go to watch the show, if you're gonna watch the show, do that, in my perspective, if you want my word of advice. Okay, this is it for this episode. Thank you so very much for your lovely company one more time. I see you in the next one. Bye-bye.